Happy Camper Radio, episode 25. Come on, let's go camping. Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to another episode of the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And as always, my friends, you can be one too. This is the place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. This is the Happy Camper Radio Show. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, I'll tell you what's up. The sky, and it looks mighty clear out there tonight, which means we ought to be
today.
You know something? It'll be a great time to sit around by the fire, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Get it cranked up. Oh, you can't beat that. And you know, it's with the weather turning like it is, it's going to be even better.
The leaves are already at my house. Oh my gosh.
What is it with you and your leaves over there? You know,
it's all year long.
Daniel, I have this studio, and for anybody that's been to our website and seen our new studio, there is an open window. The trees are green right now. Can you imagine about a month from now?
Nothing.
Well, no. I mean, they're going to turn colors, but
yeah.
I just cannot understand with the leaves at your house. They're just hitting the ground. What's the matter? Is your trees dying?
I don't know. Did you do something? Did you hex me or something?
No, I didn't text you. I didn't hex you. I didn't do anything like that at all. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll tell you something. You know, if you need to borrow my rake, it's in the garage.
I need a blower. I need one of those backpack blowers. I saw your neighbor blowing your leaves the other day. What's up with that?
Well, what's wrong with that?
Y'all got some kind of pact.
No, I was over there. I was over there working in his yard, and he's returning a favor.
Oh, okay, all right.
But, you know, I made the offer to you. The rake's in the garage.
You'll
borrow it. You'll borrow it just like you do all the other tools I have.
Yes, you're like my parents. Look, I take from them. I take from you.
Well, that's like, it works that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Hey, I gave you those wrenches back, so.
Oh, hey, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Now you can do an oil change.
Okay, I will. In fact, I've got one coming up before my camping trip here at the end of the month.
There you go.
404-537-CAMP is the telephone number to reach Daniel and I here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. Give us a call anytime. We'd love to hear from you. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to your circles on Google+. And all of our social media icons are available right there on our webpage at www.happycamperradio.com. Well, Daniel, I have got a great episode lined up for everybody today, with your help, of course.
Of course.
You know, you thought for a moment I was not going to include you in that, right?
Well, I was wondering.
I've got to admit, though, you know, this is a great episode we have lined up for everybody, and it's talking about something that I really had no earthly idea about until I sat down and learned it from you.
Exactly. Well, okay? I didn't know anything about it either.
Well, Daniel, you can teach.
I got the pros in here.
You can teach an old dog new tricks, and we're going to be talking about that here in just a second. Well, you know, I'll tell you something, Daniel. I gotta hand it to you. You know, with the technology like it is today, you know, and I know I kind of brushed this off here for quite some time. You know, there's gonna come a time when technology catches up with you.
Oh,
and
I can't wait.
And lately, it really has, because, you know, every time I turn around, there's always some sort of a new device out there.
Yeah.
That's going to, should I say, enhance your camping capabilities.
Oh, we could talk about 3D printers. So when you forget your stuff, you can just print it out with your 3D printer.
Oh, how exciting would that be?
I won't even get into that.
Well, we have a great topic of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And this week, Daniel, we're going to be talking about, and you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation on this. It is geocaching. Geocaching. I was going to say geocaching.
Catching.
You know, the way it's spelled is kind of weird. Yeah, but you know, there was a lot to learn about this too. And this week we actually spoke with a very special guest on our program here, who is well versed in the art of geocaching. And we're going to get him on the phone right now. And joining us on the Happy Camper Radio Show is Jonathan Strickland of the show How Stuff Works. Jonathan, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here on the show. And I'm sure you had an opportunity to talk with Daniel here, and Daniel is the gadget kind of guy, so I know you two are going to really connect. Myself, I'm kind of the old-fashioned character here, and I just get to the campsite, I set my fire, and I kick back and relax, and I just watch everything happen. I mean, that's what happens when you get up in the ages like I am. But Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself and your program, How Stuff Works.
Oh, sure. So I live in the Atlanta area, and I am a technology addict. So when I go to something like when I go camping, I bring along with me a backpack that has a solar panel on the back, so I can charge all of my electronics, so that I don't go through any serious withdrawal symptoms. I hate to do that.
I would hate for Daniel to meet you because he would steal your backpack off you.
Hey, we can share. Share.
I've had a lot of people ask me about it. It's actually a Revision 3 backpack. Revision 3 is a sister company to How Stuff Works. Both of us are in the Discovery Communications family. So Discovery Channel, Science Channel, all of those are kind of in the same boat that we're in. So How Stuff Works is all about how stuff works. We try to explain how the universe works, everything from the Big Bang Theory to how a computer can process information to how financial systems work and everything in between.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot to learn from just listening to your show, and like I said, it's really great to have you on board. Now, I understand that as far as camping goes, you have been into this thing that Daniel has been trying to get me into, which is geocaching. Tell us a little bit about that and what that involves.
Sure. So geocaching comes from it comes from a hobby that started right around 2000. So at 2000, that was when something very special happened. It's when the United States government decided to end what was called selective availability. And selective availability was this program in which satellites, GPS satellites, that stands for Global Positioning System, the satellites in the GPS were meant to insert errors on purpose into the signals for anyone who was using a civilian GPS receiver. The purpose of this was to make sure that if an enemy were to come into possession of a GPS unit, they would not be able to precisely define where any particular target was in the United States.
Okay.
It was only meant for the military. Well, in 2000, they decided to quit that. And they said, we are going to allow the average civilian to have a GPS receiver that can get an accurate reading on their actual location, get real GPS data coordinates.
So that's why we have GPS units today that can get us from point A to point B.
Exactly.
Okay,
as opposed
great.
to telling you that, you need to take a left turn somewhere. That would have been the old one.
Why is it so bad in the mountains, John? I'm just wondering.
What's that?
Why is it so bad in the mountains? Because when we go to a cavern or something, it's like don't do your GPS. Don't do your GPS.
Yeah. It's pretty simple, actually. So the way GPS works in general is that you have these satellites that are in geosynchronous orbit above the United States. Geosynchronous means that they have a pattern that they go around, but they're always within that pattern over the U.S., as opposed to geostationary, which means they're just over a specific spot. So the way GPS works on your receiver is that it receives signals from at least 3 of these satellites, really, to determine where you are on the Earth. Each of these signals has a timestamp associated with it, and when the receiver gets the timestamp from these different satellites, it compares all the information, and from that it figures out you can be in just 2 places in the entire universe based upon that information. There are only 2 places. One of them is on the surface of the Earth, one is under the surface of the Earth. It then eliminates the under the surface of the Earth possibility and says this is where you are. Well, if you are someplace like in a mountainous area, or you are in a city, a very dense city, those buildings or mountains are going to block some of those signals, which means that you aren't going to get the information that the receiver needs in order to figure out where you are. And you have to have these multiple satellites so that you can actually figure out your specific position.
Well, I don't know what they've done, but I am grateful for the fact that when I use my GPS, which incidentally I have on my smartphone, in the mountains or in the city or wherever, I'm so glad that they have a program where they tell you the name of the road that you're supposed to be turning on, because I would definitely be lost without it.
Yeah, I was glad because my old GPS receiver used to tell me things. I must have had it set on Southern. It would say things like, "You will see a man playing a banjo. Drive 200 feet past him and then turn left."
But what if you don't see the man with the banjo? You still turn left, right?
But anyway, getting back to geocaching, what was cool was that pretty much as soon as the government ended up ending selective availability and allowing people to have this accuracy, there were lots of people who were big enthusiasts of GPS receivers in the civilian field, and one of them, a guy named Dave Ulmer, who got this idea. He thought, why not test how accurate the GPS receiver is now by going out someplace and getting a box, a waterproof container that he would put some goodies in and a logbook in there and a pencil, and then go back and on a website upload those coordinates and say, there is something here. If you use a GPS receiver, you should be able to find this box. Feel free to take something out of it, but put something else back into it and sign the logbook. Sign and date the logbook to let me know when it was you found it. And it took about 3 days before 2 people independently went out and found the box, signed the logbook, took out a little trinket, and replaced it with another trinket that they had brought. And that has become the very basis of the hobby of geocaching. It's this idea of kind of treasure hunting, where people go and they find interesting spots, and they put this cache, this waterproof, weather-resistant box that contains multiple things, usually at least a logbook, if not also some goodies. And they're really, really kind of interesting, unique goodies that don't cost a lot of money, so trinkets and tchotchkes, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you upload the coordinates to a website. There are quite a few out there that cater to this hobby, and then that gives everybody the basic information they need in order to find the cache.
This is Brian Ibbett from Coverville in the Morning Stream, and you're listening to Happy Camper Radio.
So how can I find out about this? I mean, where can I go online to get it started and stuff?
Oh, sure. I mean, just a very simple search on geocaching will pull up tons of different websites that are just catering to this. But geocaching.com is probably the best known and most well kept of these, because obviously this is a hobby, so a lot of people will migrate in and occasionally migrate back out of the hobby. So some sites that you find may not have the most up-to-date information. I mean, if you are going to be someone who creates a geocache, if you create one of these things, you're kind of responsible for the upkeep of it too, and occasionally coming out, checking on it, making sure that the weather hasn't gotten into it and caused something to rot or get mold or anything like that, mm-hmm. or just to make sure that someone hasn't just picked it up and walked off with it. If that's the case, then what you're supposed to do is go and then update the website or whatever website you are using and let them know that cache is offline.
Is it mostly a nature thing? Is it mostly a nature thing, or do you do it in the cities? It doesn't really matter, because it seems like it's more of a hiking thing out in the wilderness. It's not really a city thing. I know they probably have them in the cities, but it seems like more of a nature thing. Am I right with that?
It really is, because while the original hobby was all about, hey guys, look how cool this technology is, what it's become now is that people will go on these hikes and they'll find amazing places, like perhaps the gorgeous vista where you get a really great view of a waterfall, or it's a gorgeous view of a valley, or a great camping spot. It's something that you happen to uncover, and maybe it isn't listed in any of the travel guides, or maybe it's just one of those things that no one really bothers to go and see that, and you think, I want to give people an incentive to come here and experience this place because it means so much to me.
Wow.
So in general, geocachers will find a spot that really the destination is the true reward. You get a sense of accomplishment from finding the cache, but even if they never find the cache, because sometimes people hide them in tough places or whatever, you're not supposed to get too complicated with it, because the idea is that people are supposed to find it. But you want the destination to be worth the travel of getting there.
That sounds to me like that you would have to exert some energy.
That's right.
Basically, get out of your camping chair and head out to the woods, get on the dirt path or wherever it may be, and start looking for these things.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, at this point, GPS receivers can give you an accuracy of around sometimes fewer than 6 meters, sometimes as close as 6 feet. So if you're talking about that kind of accuracy, you generally have, you think, all right, well, I've got about a 12-foot diameter space that I need to kind of search around it. If I don't find it, then chances are it was either mislabeled, someone's walked off with it, or the person who hid it is incredibly devious. But in general, yeah, it's meant to get people active and to explore. It's this whole idea of exploration beyond. You're already out there enjoying nature, but now you're doing something beyond that. Now you're actually discovering stuff, which is kind of exciting.
Well, it definitely sounds like it does get exciting. Myself, like I say, I don't think I could really get out there and have the energy that Daniel and his wife Deidre have, because they're always on the go. Myself, I'm kind of just kicking back, and and anybody that would be there at camp with me, I'd say, hey, go out there, have fun, and just have a good time. And so, and no doubt, probably, if my kids go along, they'll want to take my particular smartphone here that has all the GPS and the fancy gadgets on it. And I just hope and pray I'd get it back.
Yeah, there's a lot of faith involved in that approach. But yeah, I think what's also interesting is that most of these sites, like geocaching.com, they'll even go so far as to explain sort of the difficulty level of getting to where that geocache is. So you might look for something that's a very easy hike, just so that you can experience it and have a fun time. And normally there are also areas for people to comment on. So the comments are a good way of getting an idea of what the most recent finds were. What condition was the cache in? Because usually people will either like found cache, left a message, everything's great, put in my special Smurf keychain or whatever, and then you could go and if you wanted, you could take the Smurf keychain and replace it with something else, like a little Lego Jedi or something.
Daniel, is there any possibility that when you go geocaching, that you might leave some money in the box?
Yeah, I'll leave $5.
Oh, guess what? I'm going to go geocaching now.
Bam, there you go. We got him on board, John.
I came across some Canadian money once.
Oh, really? That has holes in it.
Yeah, when I found it, it was a toonie, which is the $2 coin. Back when I found it, that was back when the American dollar was about twice as strong as the Canadian dollar, and I left it. Nowadays, I would think that's mine.
My,
that's pretty cool.
That really is. Now, Jonathan, for the sake of our listeners here, who are a lot of them camp all over the world. If somebody decides, well, I'm going to go camping this weekend, and I'm going to go to ABC Campground, which is about 20, 30 miles away from where they live, is there any way to find out if there is any geocaching going on in that area where they're camping so they can participate in this activity?
Oh, sure. Yeah, most of these sites allow you to search through various criteria, including regions. So you can do something like put in a postal code or even just a park name in most of these, and they will pull up things that are in the database that are either close to that or within that specific zone. So, like you were saying, Daniel, there are urban geocaches as well. It's a lot trickier to find a place where you can put a box where it's not going to walk off.
Yeah.
It's also tough to find a place where you're not going to, post 9/11. It's tough to find a place where you can put a box where you're not going to make someone nervous.
Yeah.
But in nature, most of these places, like in parks and public lands, there tend to be agencies that will oversee this sort of stuff, and most geocachers that I know actually clear everything through specific authorities before they go out to put something down, because no one wants to end up causing any concern or to disturb the environment in a way. You know, that's not the point of geocaching. The treasure hunting is really all about getting people out and
I can see where that is very important, because for folks who go out and engage in the let's call it the art of geocaching, the last thing they want to do is have law enforcement sneaking up on them, you know, because somebody called and complained and said this, and this. So yeah,
sure.
You know, that's why, you know, if folks that are going to be starting a cache, you know, notifies, you know, whoever that they're going to be engaging in this, and this is why they're doing it, you know, then it makes it all more fun. I know. I would not want the authorities coming up on me. I mean, it's you know, I've got a guy living next door to me right now that, you know, we've got a burn ban going on, and, you know, every now and then I'd be sitting on my sofa on a Sunday afternoon and I'm smelling smoke. Where is it coming from?
It's coming from my house,
right.
Kip. You know that.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah, he's a character. Yeah. Believe me.
Yeah.
What I have to go through here in the studio every single week.
Well, it's certainly one of those things that and I wrote this article, How Geocaching Works. It was one of my earliest articles for How Stuff Works, and it was really exciting because it wasn't the sort of thing I normally would write about. I would normally write about how the actual technology works, but in this case, I was talking more about how people were using a technology in a very interesting way. Okay. And it was very that really got my attention. But I definitely stress in the article, and I stress to all your listeners, that this is a great hobby. And as long as you take the right sort of responsible approach to it, it can be a lot of fun. You can get a lot of exercise. You can see places that you might not have ever explored before. But if you want to be responsible, then you do things like you make sure before you plan a cache that whatever agency oversees the area that you're going to is aware of it and is okay with that. Because some of them have very specific parameters, things that you can do or can't do, or even areas that you shouldn't venture into, perhaps because of delicate wildlife in that area, and you shouldn't disturb it, that kind of thing.
Yes, it never hurts to ask.
Exactly. And there are so many out there already that I would highly recommend anyone who's interested in the hobby first just kind of pick a couple of geocaches that are, you know, not too far away from where they live. Usually you can find some. I mean, even in some remote places, you can find some that are maybe an hour's drive away, and or closer. I live in Atlanta, so if I were to put my zip code in here, I'm sure I could find probably a dozen that were within a 20-minute drive of where I live. Of course, if I want to go out into the woods, I need to go a little further, but that's another matter. But anyway, yeah, go out and search for some of these and kind of, you know, get a feel for how it works. And I think it's one of those hobbies that really grows on you quickly. I've got a lot of friends who are heavy-duty technology podcasters, and this is their hobby of choice.
Wow.
Well, Jonathan, I'll tell you this much: you might get me out of the camping chair. I mean, this just listening to you and understanding what's involved with this here. Even if I'm not doing it during a camping trip, it's something that it sounds very interesting to me that I may get involved with. And who knows? I mean, after I get the wood stacked and the camp set up, I just might follow Daniel out somewhere. And
all right,
yeah, let's just see what this is about. Jonathan, is there? How can our listeners find out about you? Do you have a website, and where can they listen to your podcast?
Oh, sure, yeah. HowStuffWorks.com is the website where all of my stuff lives. You can also listen to me on shows like Tech Stuff, which is my technology podcast, and then I've got a show called Forward Thinking, which is my show about the future. Both of those you can find on iTunes. You can also find the RSS feeds on HowStuffWorks.com, so if you prefer to subscribe through that, you can do that. And, you know, I tend to pop up here and there across the internet. I'm something like one of those whack-a-moles. I just, Right when they're not looking for me, that's when I'm going to pop up.
Okay. Well, Jonathan, hey, I thank you so very much for taking the opportunity to talk with us today and joining us on the program. You be safe out there, and we're going to definitely be listening to how stuff works in one of your upcoming episodes. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks. I'll see you out there. I got my GPS receiver set to find.
Okay. That sounds like a winner to me. Thank you, Jonathan. Wow, Daniel, that's a lot to learn there, isn't it?
Wow, that guy talks a lot.
And did he get it? Does he get it from you?
No, that's maybe. I don't know. That's how you get when you start podcasting.
Well, I'll tell you what,
it
was a great pleasure having him on the show this week, Aaron. And anytime you want to learn about geocaching, we're going to include a link on our website, which is www.happycamperradio.com. Go to Skip's Corner and click on the links page. And there's a link right there to geocaching.com. It's a great website. There's a lot to learn about this here. Technology has really done a number of things. I think back about 20 years ago, Daniel, and I had not a clue where we would be today.
I know. I thought we were going to have flying cars. I'm still waiting on that one.
Well, I hope I live long enough to see it, and I'm going to wait because I'm sure I'll be looking up in the sky and seeing you flying around.
There you go.
Okay, but
flying to a campground.
Hey, anyway, if you're interested in going geocaching, a couple things you might want to bring along with you: a pen and a pencil, and a variety of trinkets. You don't have to
$5 bill, right? $5 bill?
Well, I'll dig up your cash when I know you're putting money down.
There you go.
But, the items you put in there, it really doesn't have to be anything of extreme value. Just something little up there, because this is a game. And I also want to make mention of the fact you want to keep safety in mind. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, read up what you can on geocaching. Learn to do it right, learn to do it safe, and have a lot of fun in the process. It is time now for our feature campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And this week, Daniel, we are going to the state of Ohio to Iron Ridge on Lake Vesuvius. This is a nice campground, Daniel. I couldn't believe it when I went to the website here and saw what they had to offer. This is a great place if you enjoy the shade. Just take a look at some of the photographs there. It is a very well-shaded campground. It is the place to be if you're looking for a great getaway. Their season runs all the way through October the 27th of this year, so there's still plenty of time to go camping. And it sits right there on Lake Vesuvius. I hope I pronounced that right. I get a little messed up with some of these names sometimes, but
I think there are a lot of Indian names up there. I know there's some down here too.
Yeah, but the intentions are good. They've got boating, fishing, swimming right there on Lake Vesuvius. More than 40 miles of trails exist in the area.
I bet there's geocaching.
I bet there is too.
Mm-hmm.
If you get your GPS out and your iPhone or your smartphone or whatever you have there that you're going to be using, you might find that they have some caches right in that area.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity for you to go ahead and participate in geocaching if you happen to be camping out in the Iron Ridge area of Ohio. So, check it out right there on the website. Check out their date range availability, see what they have available. Take a look at the facility map. It's a great place. They've got boating, campfire rinks at the campsites, electrical hookups. There you go, Daniel.
Yay.
Hiking, horseback riding, paddle boating, picnic shelters. It's a great place to go camping, and you may not want to miss this opportunity this year to check out Iron Ridge. It's right there in the state of Ohio. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, by all means, drop us an email. Go to our website at www.happycamperradio.com. And Daniel?
My email, come on now.
There you go. Go
Daniel
ahead.
at happycamperradio.com.
And only send the good stuff if you want to talk about Skip.
Yeah, send the good stuff to Skip.
Yeah, please do. I tell you, we really enjoy your emails. We really enjoy hearing from all of our listeners here on the Happy Camper Radio Show, because this is the place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. It's the Happy Camper Radio Show. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to your circles on Google+. And don't forget to catch us next week and every week thereafter for another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. You're a happy camper. And always, always, you can be a happy camper too. Have a great one, folks. We'll talk to you next week.